Fun times. What you been up to?
I graduated from Alabama last spring. I worked at Godspeed this whole summer. Godspeed closed, so I was out of work for a while, but I've just been running my business over at 119 this whole fall.
Where like I see like the Instagram videos, like where are you exactly? Where is that?
Do you know where Walk-Ons is?
On 119?
In Greystone?
Yeah.
It's right over there. It's near Brook Highland, the church.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what's the like what is that building like because like the fields out there and everything.
So they have like obviously like a fitness gym in there. They've got a PT clinic. They have kind of
Okay.
like a hospital doctors area. And then there's the performance side where I'm at with the turf, the facility in the back. But I mean it's a huge place. Like I didn't know it had all that in there. It's a big area. Um, and all the stuff is pretty new. All like the performance side, the field, the turf field, the facility, that's all from like 2018.
Oh wow. That is pretty new. I mean a
Yeah.
lot of that over there is pretty new though, like that whole development like in that Greystone area, like you mentioned, walk-ons and some of that other. But yeah, I had no idea that was there.
Mhm.
That's
Most people
man,
don't.
yeah, man. What year? Okay, I was doing some looking back.
Mhm.
Uh, what? So you graduated from Briarwood in would it have been 19?
2020.
2020.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
So what? So okay. So you played. I was trying to pull up some old stuff, but apparently I covered a lot of Briarwood football back then.
Mhm.
So like my stuff's all over. So your senior year was 19 then?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
I had found a bunch of stuff from like 2018. It looked like y'all were uh yeah, well, I mean heck, y'all were good 17, 18, 19. I mean Briarwood's just about always good, but
Mhm.
y'all had some big games. I was looking at the one from what is this? This is 2018 last regular season game. Y'all got the better of Roydale over against Hueytown.
Yep. Yep.
You had a big night that night.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we played them twice. My junior year and senior year. My senior year, I didn't play. My junior year, I had a big game. I had probably like 100 on the ground, maybe a touchdown or so, but I had a big kick return.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's what I was reading. You had a let's see, momentum was halted. Yeah, because okay, Hueytown had a big first drive, and then you returned that kick 72 yards, and then Jr. found scored the touchdown a few plays later. And y'all were
Mhm.
off and running.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that game did not end up how I thought being there. I mean, like I
Yeah.
mean that opening drive they go 80 yards.
Mhm.
You know, Roydale Williams is on the field, and 12 plays, and they go right down the field and score, and then y'all win 31-13. Like that's crazy.
We shut him out for the most part. I mean, he had probably 100 yards still, but he was scoring or he was averaging, 200, 300, 400 yards a
Yeah,
game that year.
yeah. Like I had him, and I even said it. Like for most guys, I would have not written it this way, but Roydale Williams was like you said, he was kind of a different animal. Like I had him for 27 carries for 145 and two touchdowns, but I said he was held in check. Like
Yeah.
most backs, that's not being held in check, but for Roydale Williams, I was held in check. And then yeah, I had you at 13 carries for 104 and a touchdown.
Hmm.
Pretty good.
Pretty
Pretty good.
good.
Those were
Yeah.
some good, man. Those were some good teams and some
Yeah.
fun teams. Coach
Mhm.
Yancey was still there. That would have been, was that his last year?
It was.
Dang, man. What was that like playing the last season under a legend?
Yeah. I mean, we didn't know it was going to be his last season. So, I mean, we were just playing like it was normal, like it was regular. Amazing coach, amazing man. Taught me a ton about football, about life. I mean, it was a big shock when he retired. No one saw it coming. We had no warning. We just came in for a team meeting one day and he says he's done. But I mean, I'm very thankful for the time we had with him. We won a lot of games and we learned a lot. It was fun.
It's crazy still looking at like just Briarwood's history since the early '70s and seeing that like now Coach Forrester is, he's already second all time in Briarwood in wins for head coaches, but he's like 234 wins behind Coach Yancey because he did it just so long and was so good for so many years. 278 wins. Coach Forster's got 44, so he's going to have to stay there a few decades and see if he can catch up. That's for sure.
Most definitely, yeah.
I have to bring it up so that I can show it during the podcast. But I think it might have been that Hueytown night. I was talking to you after the game, and our friend Todd that takes all the photos at Briarwoods. He tries to get some photos of everything, even post game. And I don't know what it was. Was it? I don't know. I'm talking to you, and then in the photo, and I'll show this here. There's like a student dressed up as Chewbacca.
Yeah, I still have it on my phone.
Who do you even know? Like he's blurry, so I don't know who he is.
I know who it is, yeah.
Let's
That's
name
actually
drop him.
Coach Yancey's grandson.
Is it really? Why was he dressed like Chewbacca? Was this just like a holdover from Halloween or what?
Well,
Oh, you can see Coach Yancey back there.
yeah. What month was that? Was that November?
Let's see. It was that game story November 3rd. So like, I guess the game would have been November 2nd.
Yeah, it was probably like, Spirit Week or something, some type of dress up. And I know it was cold too, so I mean, maybe he was just rocking out in the Chewbacca outfit.
Yeah, we look cold. I mean, you can see the breath in the photo. It was definitely that time of year. I
Mhm.
had I had to bring that up just so I could show it on the podcast because that all-time photo bomb was
Oh yeah,
great.
for sure.
So you said you went to Alabama after Briarwood?
Yes, sir.
So I guess you probably studied what, like kinesiology or something like that.
Kinesiology, exercise science.
Why'd you decide to do that?
Yeah. I tried athletic training. I realized that was very difficult and it's really not what I wanted to do. I thought that's what I wanted to do. It didn't work out. God had other plans for me. I heard about kinesiology and I was like, okay, yeah, let's do it. Sports, football players, basketball players, baseball guys, all the same realm. So I was like, okay, I like this. And I started taking all the classes and turned out exactly what I wanted to do.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Initially, I was going to study kinesiology at Alabama, but then I went the other way and said I'll write about the guys who were making the plays. But what building were you at? Like where was that at on campus?
I definitely know the name of the building. I just can't remember it. It's right by the quad.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's the same one because I went there a million years ago, but um, I can't remember it either. It was like on a corner, at least
Mhm.
when I was there. But
It
yeah,
is.
I can't remember the name of it.
I
But
shouldn't. I can't remember.
it's hard to on the spot. Yeah, because like I remember like walking through there a few times, being like, yeah, this would be cool. Because there were once upon a time, that's what I wanted to do was, like I was trying to figure out what would work best, like go that route, and try to get into some coaching kind of stuff, basketball, baseball, golf for me, and or like go the education route, and then and be a teacher and a coach that way, and ultimately I just decided I was like I can't pull myself away from wanting to write about it and go cover these things and that kind of deal. So I'm fascinated by what people like you do. So
Thank you.
uh, that was the best route for me. So what all did you learn down there? Was it everything you thought it was going to be?
There's a lot more for sure. I've never been a math guy. A ton of math, ton of numbers, lots of science, then a lot of psychology. Just learning about the athletes, their mind, how they operate, how they process and think about things. But it was a lot for sure, and I'm very thankful for the time there.
Yeah. What kind of experience were you able to, because like so much of the college stuff, like at least for me was, yeah, we'd go to, class for sure, and you learn stuff, but they're wanting you to get that kind of hands-on experience and kind of take what you're learning out, as quickly as you can. What kind of hands-on kind of stuff were you able to do? Were you at football practice or anything, or involved with some high schools, or what?
So I wasn't directly related to any sport. We did a lot of stuff in a gym setting, in a weight room setting, and then like in a laboratory setting. We also worked with adapted athletes, which was really cool. I'd never done that before. So all the wheelchair athletes,
Yeah,
worked with a bunch of high schools around the area. That was in my internship. But most of the experience, came from your internship, going and getting with a professional and just sitting down, watching them, see how they operate, all that types of stuff.
man, that's cool. I miss Tuscaloosa so much, but I
Mhm.
miss I miss what Tuscaloosa was like. So much has gone there. Like I graduated in 2009,
Okay.
so like my first year there was Mike Shula's last year as the football coach, and it was bad.
Yeah.
And then my sophomore year, I guess, was Coach Saban's first year, which everybody was excited. But like I was at that Louisiana Monroe game, like every people were like, "We hired this guy for this much money. We're losing to Louisiana Monroe." I was probably one of the last students that I stayed the whole game.
Mhm.
Not many people stayed the whole game,
Yeah.
and then you turn it around. Then '08, they make that run and get to that game against Utah in the Sugar Bowl, I think it was. And then senior year, they end up having that season and go on and win the national title against Texas. And just like it was like a switch flipped in terms of timing. I was just at a game that they lost to Louisiana Monroe, and like 2 years later winning the Natty. Like what is this? But um, I went back. I hadn't been back to Tuscaloosa in a really long time,
Hmm.
and I went back last year. It was for the Super Seven. It was when Clay Chalkville beat Saraland. Like I guess almost like a year and a half ago or whatever now. Um, and like I could I had in my mind how I remembered Tuscaloosa, like campus, and like I'm coming down Paul Bryant Drive or whatever, and I like it was like the whole landscape had changed. So many apartments and condos and all this stuff that like the skyline had changed, and I honestly felt lost.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, I'm not where I think I am. Like, because I was sitting there imagining, I forget the name of the church, Canterbury or something. I forget the name of the church that's near the stadium.
Mhm.
And I was looking for that as kind of like my mark to know where I was going to park. And I was like, wait a minute, everything is surrounded by buildings and stuff. And I couldn't navigate it now how you had to navigate it. There's too many people.
I mean, even like from my freshman to my senior year, completely different. Like everything is so futuristic. You got
Yeah,
buildings everywhere, apartments, like you said. It's completely different. It's wild.
it is. Like it was I mean, because when I got there, like it was, I mean, everything was, you get crowded because it's, I mean, it's the state university, but you had some space. Like you could actually find somewhere to park. These days, you can't park anywhere in Tuscaloosa. But we did most everything walking, but you weren't like bumping into people or whatever. And I could walk from. I stayed at like when I was in a dorm, I was at Friedman Hall, like on the back side of the uh, all the fraternities and stuff. So like I could look out a window and back then and see the stadium.
And
Um, and then now I'm like, I look around down there and I'm like, I don't know how I would just walk outside and there's just people everywhere. It
yeah,
was definitely different back then.
for sure.
Man. So what'd you do when you graduated when? When did you say last?
Last spring, so almost a year ago, 2024.
You walk and everything?
Yes, sir.
It's a long day.
Oh yeah.
I do remember that. It was a long day. How cool was that to like, I imagine that was a big goal of yours.
It was huge because, graduating in 2020, we had COVID. So I didn't get to walk at all. All we did was stand up in the church. So I was disappointed in high school, very excited in college. It was one of my goals, and I'm glad I was able to do it in 4 years.
Yeah. What'd you do right out, like right out of college? Were you back up here or where were you?
I was in Birmingham, where I'm at right now. I was working
Okay.
at Godspeed Elite
That's right.
Sports Academy. I worked there from May to August, and I was planning on staying there for a long time, and they just happened to shut down. So then that's when I started my business,
What's the name of your business?
Prewett Performance.
So what all just tell me about it, the why behind it and what all you do and who you work with and that kind of thing.
Yeah. So obviously, I love sports. I love football first, and then I found a lot of love, for gymnastics, tennis, golf, soccer, baseball, all of those. I've always liked them, but now I'm really starting to love them. Being around kids, I didn't think I was going to like that. I worked a summer camp in Tuscaloosa and I fell in love with kids and being a
Yeah.
leader, being able to be a mentor. So I thought this was the perfect thing for me, being able to do speed and agility, weights, try to keep them from getting injured, injury prevention, helping them with recruiting, with their film, anything they need that I can be assistance to, I'm going to do it for them. My problem was I didn't know where I was going to have a facility, if I was going to need to pay rent, if I was going to need to buy something, so I felt kind of stuck there. But I knew Ben Neal. He's been a
Yep.
longtime friend of mine, QBC in Birmingham. We had kept that connection for a long time because I used to train with him when I was a junior high and high schooler. I was going out there catching for my boy Chance and Hayden. Um, so yeah, I hit him up and I said, "Do y'all need a performance coach?" And he said, "We'd love to. We've been thinking about that for a while." So I met with him and Stockton McGuire, and we just kind of hit it off. They're letting me. So they have an area in the back of 119 where their office is. So they've allowed me to use that space, and I've just been rocking ever since. Getting all the kids in this area: Oak Mountain, Briarwood, Spain Park, Homewood, Hoover, Chelsea, Pelham, doing a lot of online, sending out things to them, just broadcasting, networking, all that. And I've got a good little following right now. I've got about 25, 30 kids, and we're training Monday through Friday in the mornings and the afternoons whenever I can get them. And it's been going well. I've been helping out a lot of kids, and I enjoy it a lot.
It seems like y'all start really early. Like I'll wake up in the morning and I'll see, like whenever I pop open like Instagram and I'll see Pruitt Performance on the story already and it's like 6 a.m. and these guys are going. Y'all start pretty early.
Yeah, we got to get them before school. Some kids like that, some kids don't. I personally, if I was in high school, I probably wouldn't have liked that. But growing up, getting older, getting more mature, I realized that's what I got to do. If I want to get these kids in, if I want to help them, develop them, it's got to be before school or it's got to be after school. There's no time during the day.
Yep. Well, I want you mentioned all the sports, like not just football. I'm curious about this. Like obviously things like exercise science, performance, that kind of thing has come a long way in a shorter period of time than people might think. Like when I was in high school, the only school sponsored sport that I played was golf. And at the time, I'm not going to name him because that would look bad. And I love the guy. He was my coach, but he was, this was back when, you didn't have a specific coach for every sport, especially golf. That
Yeah.
got rolled into the head football coach's stipend. Hey,
Mhm.
you're the golf coach in the spring. Good luck.
Yeah.
And when that started to cross over with like off-season football workouts, if we weren't allowed, I don't remember how this worked exactly, but there was a stretch of time where we could not, if you didn't have your driver's license and you're not 16 and you're on a varsity sport and you couldn't drive yourself to the golf course, you went with the football team And so like we're doing the same workouts with the football team, and I'm like, why do I have to flip a tire? I just swing a golf club. Like, why do I need to max out on the bench and kill my arms? Now I can't swing. So like that's what we got rolled into. And I'm wondering from you, like all these different sports, how do you kind of tailor what you do to certain athletes?
Sure. That's a really good question. In sports, you want to make it as specific as you can to the sport specific.
Yeah.
So for my swingers, baseball guys, hockey, lacrosse, tennis, golf, they're more rotational power. So we're working a lot of hip stuff, a lot of core stuff, and trying to protect their shoulders rather than football, where it's an all out, full body, very aggressive sport. You got to train everything. You got to train for strength, speed, mobility, all that types of stuff. So it's really detailed in the programming that I do. I'm sitting down all the time on my computer, on my notebook, on my whiteboard, and trying to divvy out what's best for this athlete. And to begin with, when a guy comes into me or a girl, whoever it is, I have to look at them and say, okay, what are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? What do they need to improve on? And how can I program something for them that's going to be most beneficial in their sport?
Yeah, man. What's the if I was still playing golf, what would be the hardest workout I would do?
We want your legs to be strong.
Yeah.
That's your base. You got to have that. You need to have strong shoulders. You want to have a good core, and your hips need to be able to move, and your pelvis needs to be able to rotate forward and backwards. So I'd say for a golfer, a lot of shoulder mobility, lots of core, lots of upper and lower back, and then we might have you, squatting a little bit.
Okay. Okay. I'll take a little extra distance off the tee, you know?
Yeah,
Man, yeah, we didn't do any of that in high school. I wish we would have because I always struggled just personally with the rotation. That was
yeah.
always my big issue was rotating at the core. And I haven't picked up clubs in a while. Like I've got a 5-year old, so picking up golf clubs anytime now is just about impossible. They're in the attic. But that was always my problem, even when I was younger and in better shape and stuff, was getting around, on the ball and not just like swaying. So yeah, that kind of stuff would definitely help.
Yeah, yeah. And I'd say I'm a very athletic guy, and it's still hard for me to rotate my hips, my core, to swing a golf club. I haven't golfed in forever. I'm hoping to go soon with some of the guys, but I mean, it's a lot of coordination looking at that small ball on a tee, having to rear back and just chuck it down the fairway. I mean, it's
Yep.
difficult, and you got to be really
Yeah.
detailed in the training.
Yep. People think it's easy and then they go do it and they get humbled really, really quickly.
Yes,
I
yes.
like I like in high school, like if you play on the golf team or whatever, a lot of your peers kind of think you're kind of a certain kind of way. They think you're kind of a dork or something, or you're just not athletic. And then once everybody gets out of high school and you kind of let that kind of high school nonsense mindset let go of it, like everybody enjoys golf. Like I find so many people that I went to school with that are like, dang, I wish I would have done this, back in the day with y'all and stuff. And I'm like, you could have. Like I mean, it's a blast. It's something you can play forever, really. But that's I'll get off the golf stuff now. It's we're getting into spring. Masters commercials are on. I'm getting in my golf mode. What about like a basketball guy?
Yeah.
Like what do you I don't know, like I know it's individual, but like what do you work on the most with them? Is it I don't know. What is it?
They need to be super elastic, obviously, because they're jumping,
Mm,
they're springy all the time. You want to work on their acceleration, getting off the ground, their deceleration when they land. So that helps their knees, their ankles, their calves, their Achilles, all that lower body stuff. Their back needs to be strong, their upper shoulders, finishing around the rim. And it's a lot of coordination. I didn't play basketball in high school. I think I could have, maybe, maybe not. But they're extremely coordinated. They're, I'd say, pound for pound, the best athletes in the world. Football is different because it's completely two different spectrums. But a basketball guy, big, strong, fast, able to move, super powerful, getting off the court when they jump. The coordination is crazy, running full speed, dribbling, weaving in and out of defenders, cones, whatever it is, going between your legs, going behind your back. It's a different ball game. So it's very coordinated, orientated, very detail in the muscles and all that. But I mean, really legs, hips, knees, back, and then you got to have strong hands, gripping the ball, throwing it, passing, finishing around the rim, all that sorts of stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you like I've heard varying opinions on this in football. Um, it seems like most schools, if they're financially able to, have gone to some sort of turf. Like this isn't super new. This is, I mean, over the last decade, 2 decades, but um, I've seen guys pop ACLs on, just regular grass. I've seen guys tear ACLs on turf. Like, what are there advantages, disadvantages to turf or certain kinds? Because like you see different kinds now too. Like Chelsea has a different kind of turf out there than like Spain Park used to, or something like that. It's not kind of one size fits all, but where do you kind of land? Like I understand it from the financial side where they drain. You don't have to delay things. They dry really quickly. You're not going to tear them up. Maintenance is easier. I get the financial side, but from the athlete's perspective, is it better, the same, worse?
Yeah. Me personally, I liked grass. I grew up playing on grass. I first started playing football at Herdmont at Oak Mountain. So I was on grass my whole life. I think grass is good because you can dig your cleats in. You have really good traction there. It doesn't bounce, so it's not a lot of pressure on your ankles and your knees. And I like getting dirty, so that was always fun. I feel like, after your game, you should have dirt all over yourself. You should be, all dirty and grimy and slimy and all that. Um, the advantages of turf, though, I'd say, like you said, is clean, drains easily. Um, that might be the only advantages. I don't know.
I mean, I think it could be like I was at Legion Field to start this season. It was might have been out there twice, but it was Clay Chalkville against Ramsey,
Yeah.
and we're walking on the sidelines, and they've got this turf out there, and I don't know what it was, but it was like almost like a bubble in the turf. And I'm over there with one of the coaches, and we're like literally walking this bubble out across the field, trying to get it like because you couldn't stomp it down. Like whatever had happened had made it where it was just uplifted, and it was an obvious trip hazard. And we're trying to walk this thing and push down on it and keep following it all the way off the sideline, kind of to the back of the sideline. And I was just like, how do y'all deal with this? Like it's like it was moving, and I'm like, it's like the ground's moving underneath you. Like it just to me was, ugh.
Yeah, that's one of those things, especially with the rubber turf. It gets so hot. It gets
Mm,
so hot. And,
yeah,
rubber inflates. So there's little air pockets that come up.
yep,
And that happens a lot. And that's something I hated playing on, honestly. There's a lot of injuries on our team from our new turf at Briarwood. We're very thankful for it. It was a great
yeah,
investment, but it caused a ton of injuries for sure, just because we weren't used to that at all. We had been playing on grass our whole lives. We practice on grass across the field at the soccer fields. And then
yep,
I remember we come in the summer and right after it was put down, and we had like two or three ACLs back to back to back. So
good beast.
I feel like it's definitely one of those things where you need to practice on it to get adjusted, get your knees and your ankles ready and all that, your hips, because it's completely different. There's that bouncy texture to it,
Hmm.
with grass, you can dig in. I felt faster on grass always just because I had more power. I could produce more power. And then the turf is slick. Like if it rains, you're slipping and sliding for sure. Like you're all over the place. But yeah, I know some teams like grass, some teams like turf. Me personally, I'm a grass guy, but I think the turf looks clean. If you can get your school colors on there, I think it's sick.
Yeah. So like, do you think this kind of like the guys you would be training and stuff now? These guys that are kind of going to be growing up playing on this kind of thing, like, will they just naturally have just kind of being accustomed to it pretty much, and it won't be that big of a deal to them because they're moving a certain way, or they're used to that feel and that bounce.
Most definitely. I think this new generation of football players, whoever's on a turf, lacrosse, guys, soccer, they're gonna have less injuries for sure. They're a lot more used to it. Their bones, their tendons, their ligaments are used to it. At 119, we have a turf field, so I'm thankful for that
Yeah.
because Briarwood, Spain Park, and Oak Mountain all play on turf now. Especially at Herdmont, they just got a new turf field, which is
Yeah.
amazing. But most definitely, yeah, they're gonna get used to it quicker, and they're gonna be able to adapt better than we did.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, no knock against it. I just I like the nuance of the discussion because I'm a grass guy too, but I remember it might have been the last. I can't remember exactly the year. It might have been 2019, 2020. I don't remember, but I covered a game at Herdmont. That's where I saw a really bad ACL injury, and that was before they got turf. Now, it was just one of those freak things, and it was a running back. He tried to go over the top, and at Herdmont, the visitor side, the far end zone, like toward the woods, like right there at that very first pylon, the grass kind of hills away,
Yeah,
and he went over the top and landed like kind of toes first on that,
yeah.
and so he landed on that downslope, and that was it. But one of the last games I covered there, like it was raining. It was one of those horrible nights to cover a football game if you're having to do all this like me.
Yeah.
And, because we're not going to go sit in a press box. We're on the sidelines with y'all.
Mhm.
And uh, it was like every game in our area was at a turf field, and I was out at Herdmont. And I think Homewood at the time was probably on the road or something, so they weren't playing on their grass at home at the time. And I covered that whole game from the track because Herdmont was just a complete muddy slop. And in
Yeah.
my mind, I'm like, everybody's kind of miserable tonight, but at least their shoes are clean. Like, because they're on this like nice kind of turf, it's kind of wicking it away. And everywhere at Herdmont was mud.
Yeah.
And I was like, just personally, I was like, okay, I can get behind the like covering games. I can get behind the turf because I'm not gonna have to wear boots to cover a football game.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know, but it seems to be the way everywhere's going as long as they can afford it.
It's expensive. It is crazy expensive to turf the new fields. Like
Yep.
it's ridiculous.
Yep. And then I mean, like, I remember when Hewitt Trustful, because I live out that way. When they did theirs, and there was a big. I don't remember the full story, but like at Briarwood where you went, soccer's going to use it, lacrosse is certainly going to use it, and then at Hewitt Trustful they had a lacrosse club, but they still had to travel. They weren't letting them play on the new turf. It was all for football.
Hmm.
Anyway,
Was that a coach's decision or how did that go?
okay, I'm friends with Coach Floyd, so I won't speak for him, but I would guess that this was a decision made above him.
Yeah. Okay.
It might be different now. I don't know.
Hmm.
So I will say that I don't know. But at the time, there was a whole big thing. The lacrosse parents were pretty upset that they were like, we spent all this money was spent, and we can't use the field. What? Like we're still having to drive to Vestavia or Hoover or wherever, Briarwood.
Yeah.
So anyway, speaking of Briarwood, I like asking people this because Briarwood, I've never hid from this. Briarwood is my favorite place to cover anything.
Okay.
It's it's different there.
Hmm.
I've always felt that. Um, Gotten to know so many people there. Still talk to Jay Matthews all the time. Certainly Coach Forrester. Um, some of the parents and stuff. I don't know. People just seem to stick there. Like, what was the Briarwood experience for you, and how do you think it kind of prepared you for kind of where you are and where you want to go?
Yeah. I went to Broward my whole life.
Yeah,
I mean, it was different being at a private school,
yeah,
especially like you're surrounded by all the public schools. I
yeah,
had a lot of friends at public schools, so I kind of got a taste of a little bit of both sides. But I mean, I enjoyed Briarwood. It gave me a lot of opportunities. I feel like it prepared me from a biblical stance, obviously, an academic stance. It wasn't easy. It was super challenging. It made you really have to think, and that's good in today's world. You have to think to do things. And a lot of kids didn't get that opportunity. They're just sitting in class on their phone, listening to music, doing whatever they want. But, we're putting our phones up. We're super locked in, for that hour class or whatever it is, and they're challenging us. And if that's, in the field, on the field, in the weight room, in the classroom, I mean, even in the lunchroom, you got coaches patrolling, looking at everything. So I mean, it was very locked down, I will say. And then football, obviously, that was great. That was the best part of being there for sure. And the sports side of that, we were really good at sports. Football was good. Baseball was always good. Soccer won a bunch of natties, a bunch of championships. I mean, I enjoyed it. It was good.
yeah. How did you like? Tell me if this is not answerable, but like, how did you get? You went there your whole life, so you got in like as like is that just something that parents just wanted you to go there?
Yeah, I mean, we had
Because I
always.
because I do know that like you said, being a private school, like that's especially on the parents, that's a really big decision and a kind of a sacrifice to send your child to a school like Briarwood versus if you just happen to live in Trustful or Hoover or wherever and you just go into that public school thing. Like it's a real decision.
Yeah, it's a big commitment for sure. I'm thankful for my mom and my dad who sent me there. We had always grown up going to Briarwood Church, and my dad had a bunch of connections there. So they just felt like that was a good fit for me and my brother. It's very pricey, it's expensive.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that. I'm thankful they were able to get me through, especially because my dad passed away when I was younger. So my mom, she took over on that role and she worked her butt off and she was able to pass me through there. But I don't know. I think they just really like the Christian environment and the fact that I could have been, or I was a top player over there. Rather, if I went to a bigger school, I'm down on the depth charts or whatever that is, whatever the case may
Sure.
be. I was able to stand out at Briarwood, which was great. And, it's a good environment.
Yeah. Any of those public schools ever come knocking on you, say, "Hey, you want to come over here?"
I had a few. I'm zoned for Oak Mountain, and I grew up playing over there. So all my boys, they were trying to recruit me all of junior high and high school. And then I'm not going to say who, but I
No.
had I had two 7A coaches reach out to me on Twitter, and they tried to get me and JR to come over there.
Oh man, they were going for the duo.
Yeah.
We'll text about that offline, and maybe you can give me some hints at who it was. Are they still coaching?
Um,
You don't have to do. You don't have to.
one of them is, and then one of them retired.
I could narrow this down. Like that's the thing. I've said it for so long about recruiting at the high school level. We'll just call it what everyone calls it. Like everybody thinks it's kind of this new thing, and I said a lot of stuff when the kid from Spain Park transferred to Thompson, Jared Smith, the DN. Um, I don't have anything against that kid. I don't have anything against a parent who wants to move or do whatever that's the best for their kid or whatever.
Yeah.
If you want to move, move.
Right.
But man, we got to get a handle on some of this in season stuff. I was going at the rule, the bona fide stuff I get, but the fact that any kid could, and he didn't, because I talked to Coach Freeman at Thompson about this at length on this podcast. We spent like half an hour talking about it, and it was great. I was shocked, honestly, at how open Coach Freeman was talking about it. I just kind of put it on a tee and said go, and
Yeah.
he just talked about it, and I don't know, something about if a kid could transfer in the middle of a season, like if this was a scenario, bona fide move, whatever, and the fact that you could have someone play, let's just say, for two different teams in the same region and play the same opponent twice, but you're wearing two different uniforms when you play. That's wild to me.
Oh yeah. That's
And that could have happened, but Coach Freeman sat him. He didn't play the rest of that. I guess that was his junior year, I guess, or sophomore year. I forget what year Jared was when he left, but that was the deal. It was just like, wait, we can actually do this. Where, like, who's to say, you know, I know it's different, Briarwood private, but I don't want to even use teams because people will take that and run with it. But if you had Team A and through 5 weeks they're 1-4, but they've got like a stud wide receiver, right? And he's not getting the ball, and the team's not winning. They're not going to make the playoffs. But he's got buddies over at Team B who is 4-1, and they're looking like a contender. And who's to say you're not like, you know what? They could use a receiver over there to bolster this thing up.
right.
Let's move. I'll be ready by week 7, week 8, and we'll make us a nice little playoff run. I'm
Yeah.
like, that to me, that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, high school is becoming more and more like college, and then college is
Yeah.
becoming more and more like the NFL. It's crazy how it works, especially now that NIL is a factor that determines where a lot of kids are going to go to high school. But like you said, up in and leaving your team in the middle of the season is pathetic, no matter who it is. I understand setting yourself up for success, wanting a better life for whoever it is, wanting to get more recognition, get more eyes on you, whatever that is. But if you're locked in with a team, you got to stay there. You got to finish the season, even if you suck.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it's also on the coaches. They shouldn't recruit kids during the middle of the season to come switch sides. I mean, it's kind of
Mhm.
corny in my opinion, but that's the era. That's what we're living in today. So
It is crazy. Like I'm wondering how many, like, with the NIL, because that's insane. What NIL, what it what its perceived intent was supposed to be. Like, if you were playing, college football, you're running back Luke Prewett at whatever university, and some company approaches you and they just want you to do a commercial. Hey, I'm Luke Prewett, running back for University of Alabama, and you should eat this, you should use this, whatever. To me, that's what it was. Like, I always think back to when it first got kind of implemented. I remember, Pierce Quick,
that's
the
my dog. Yeah.
Pierce.
Yeah.
So Pierce, he played at Hewitt Trustful before he went to Alabama and then Georgia Tech and then got into coaching. So Pierce was one of the first examples of NIL that I really saw, and he did a like kind of a local commercial or whatever for this like food service place in Trustful. And he was like, "Hey, I'm Pierce Quick, former Hewitt Trustful, offensive lineman, University of Alabama, and I get this stuff." And I was like, "This is cool." Like that's what it was supposed to be to me. Matter of fact, that place, I'm actually going there in a little while to pick up some stuff. Funny enough, but anyway, but seeing what it's become with this like collective and who has the biggest pot of money, that's not name, image, and likeness. That's like, to me, that's worse than the NFL. At least in the NFL, there's a contract. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're getting paid millions and millions of dollars, but you're at least locked down to something. In college, it's just like, oh, I don't like how this is going, I'm gonna dip. Like, That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, like you were saying about Pierce and all that, that's what I imagined NIL was going to be. Small businesses also helping them out, getting
Yeah,
their recognition, restaurants, just like small town things that are close to your area. I didn't know it was
yeah,
going to be designer, fashion, dealerships. I mean, you got these big brands like Adidas, Puma, Nike, Under Armour. Like it's wild what it's become. It's absolutely crazy. And these kids, not men yet, but kids are making hundreds and then millions of dollars. And then you're giving them a lot of bad I don't know. It doesn't set them up for success. It does in a financial way, but it also pollutes their mind with a lot of things. And I mean, if I had $1 million, there's no telling what I would do, especially if I'm a 17, 18, 19-year old. Like I'm going crazy regardless.
yes. Like I couldn't imagine. Like, and I kind of wonder what's going to happen, like at the high school level, because that NIL is. I mean, I forget all the states, but I know Georgia, like kids can like at the high school level can get deals over there now, right?
Yeah.
Like how many of these guys that might end up, these top flight guys in Alabama, if you're, I mean, you've got to be, 5-star dude, but how many of these guys and their families might end up being like, you know what, we're not going to live in Alabama anymore. We're going to move over here to Georgia,
Yeah.
and you know,
And I think
it's
that's
just
beginning to happen too.
okay. I mean, we've seen it with certainly with some basketball guys that have moved from Alabama to Georgia. I forget their names, but I mean, there's been a couple of them that have left and gone over there. I mean, I guess it's not, well, it is unlike some coaches who get their 25 years in Alabama, retire in the public education system, and then move to Georgia and get like a job that pays more. So it's like you're drawing 100% retirement in Alabama and you're getting your salary in Georgia. That's what Coach Niblett did. I mean, that's what some of these guys have done, and
Yeah.
more power to them, I guess. But
I think it's crazy how, because I figured NIL would be, the same baseline for all sports, all genders, all stars. But you can tell football's
oh yeah,
up here, basketball's up here, everything else underneath. 5 stars are up here, 3 stars are down here, which I don't like. I don't think, I mean, this world's obviously not fair. The world isn't fair. But I mean, at the same time, you're all football players, you're all athletes, you're all basketball, baseball, tennis, whatever it is. I don't think a star should determine how much money you get because there's a lot of 3 stars who play like 5 stars. They just don't have the recognition. They're not being
yeah,
seen the right way. Um, but I don't know. That's just kind of my 10 cents
yeah.
on it.
No, I mean, I agree. Like what I don't like is the like, even if a guy is a 5-star, like he hasn't played, like if he hasn't played a down yet, why are we guaranteeing him money? Like I've seen some 5-stars that at Alabama that didn't turn out to be even quote unquote like a 2-star.
Right.
Like earn it, play your first year, show it in practice, show it, in the games, whatever. Let's like make it like a commission type thing. You know what I mean? Like you've got to actually earn it on the field.
Right. Because I mean, most of these 5 stars, like obviously you have the Caleb Downs who will come in and be the best player on the field regardless.
Yeah.
I mean, Ty Simpson has waited 2, 3 years before he's getting on the field, and he's still in the QB battle this year. So it's wild. You can come out of high school, be a 5 star, never touch the college field, and you're making bank.
Yeah. And I hate the like how so much focus is on it, like from the players, like, okay, like, hey, we'll have 4th and 31 forever, but so much NIL focus, Jalen Milrow. Like I needed you to take a step back a little bit this last year, and it did from afar. It didn't seem like we took a step back, and you saw the season they had. That's just bitter Alabama fan after having to have 3 losses or something. Like we're not used
Right.
to that.
I mean, we don't lose to Vandy.
Like I just had like that it was so much like that La Monroe game I mentioned earlier where like I wasn't even mad. And
Yeah.
maybe this was more so once when we played at Oklahoma and got held to 3 points, but like I'm much more of a big basketball guy than football anyway.
Mhm.
But people were watching that Oklahoma game and they're like, "What are we doing?" They're like yelling, and I just kind of like laughed. I was just kind of like, "Okay." I mean, clearly we were ready to go for this. Like, what if we don't care, if they don't care, why should I care? Like I
Right.
never thought I would be like this, but I've said this too, but I've become a much bigger NFL fan over the last year than college, and I never thought
Mhm.
that I would enjoy the NFL game um, more than college football. But over the last year, I have
Yeah.
like I said, I'm a big basketball guy, so I love the NBA. Every, so many people are like they don't play any defense. I'm like, you ain't watching the game.
Right.
These are the best players in the world. Like one, the game is longer.
Mhm.
Two, they can hit harder shots. So don't just think that 110 to 108 means there was no defense. That couldn't be further from the truth. But I don't know, like something about the pro game and really it's those guys being under contract versus you know having a roster that in college where you're like, who is this guy? Like,
Mhm.
where did he come from? Like, so okay, he played at USC last year, but now he's here. But if he doesn't play well, he's going to leave and go to LSU. Like what? Like I don't have the bandwidth for it.
Right. And a lot of people don't. It sucks because it used to be the other way around where you have these college guys who are going crazy in these games because they're trying to get to the league. They're trying to get money.
Yeah,
But if I have $1 million as an 18-year-old, I don't care if I touch the field. I don't care if I score a touchdown, and that's how they're thinking. That's really how they're
yeah.
thinking because that's how most people would think. If you can sit on the bench and make money, why would you not? Why would you risk getting injured, because all that can be invested and then you can come out on top.
Yep, that's what I've heard on a podcast that I listen to almost religiously. That's two former NFL players are the hosts, and they talk about what is this next generation coming to the league going to look like?
Mhm.
Like one of them was an offensive lineman, so he's kind of like you know
Yeah.
talking about he's going to think a lot of guys are soft anyway because he was a left tackle, so
Yeah.
most everybody's soft compared to him, but he's like, all these guys are coming in already with, like you said, with all this money. Where is their motivation?
Mhm.
Like, where is their want to? They're just kind of entitled. And he's like, I'm worried about the future of the league kind of taking a hit with that mindset coming in versus like what you mentioned, more so what it used to be. Whereas like, all right, I've got to ball out in college so that I can get to the league and get that paycheck and get that house and that car, etc. And those are things that these guys have now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I went to Alabama. If you drive past the facility parking lot, looks like a car show. It's ridiculous. You got Scats, you got Hellcats, you got every BMW over there, you got Porsches, Lambos, Corvettes, like it,
When
millions of
I
dollars in that parking lot.
when I was there, it was just everybody had the same Dodge Charger.
No, it's a lot different now. They got the red eyes, they got the wide bodies, everything's tinted. It's nice.
So you know who's driving what car, basically. Of
Yeah, because they posted on Instagram too.
course they do. They
Yeah,
got to.
yeah, yeah.
Unreal, man. Let's wrap this up. Let's. What are the? I'm sorry. What are the plans? What do you want to keep doing? I know you're very early in this journey. Where do you
Yeah.
want to take it?
Yeah, so I'm 23, turning 24 in August. I'm working on a lot of certifications right now. I'm getting my LLC, working on a website, doing a lot of business stuff on that side. But I want to keep grinding out my business, training these kids. I'm super locked in with them, super committed to them. I want to watch a lot of them graduate high school and hopefully make it to college, whether that's, D1, D2, D3, whatever it is. I want to be a step in their life that gets them in the right direction. And even if they don't play college or anything after high school, I want to make sure I'm building young men who are living in the right way, treating people right, just doing all the little things right, being very attentive to detail. that's a big thing I am is I pay attention to every little detail. And a lot of kids in this generation don't, they're skipping over things, they're lazy, they're just trying to get by. And I've never been that type of guy. So I'm really just trying to build strong men coming out of this area if I can, if I have that opportunity, which I do. Um, and then I'd love to move to Florida or Texas later in life once I kind of build up my clientele, build up my name, get some more clients out there. I'd love to open a facility over there, either up there or
Okay.
down there.
Why Florida or Texas?
I've always been a Florida boy. I love the weather over there. I love that tropical breeze. Orlando's nice, Tampa's nice, South Florida, that whole area is just beautiful. And then in Texas, and same with in Florida, but in Texas, the market is just huge for performance, for sports. We have some of the best guys coming out of Florida and Texas for football, baseball, basketball, all that. But also, there's a lot more competition over there, especially in the Dallas, Houston area. You've got a ton of performance facilities, a lot of really good coaches, a lot of smart people working over there. So I got to grind. I got to get my name out there. I got to keep doing what I'm doing, and hopefully, I'll make it big one day.
There you go. Well, you're doing it. Tell people where to follow it on Instagram so I get it right here.
Yeah.
What's the handle?
So my business account is Prewett Performance, Prewett. On Twitter, I'm Prewett Perform. And then if you want to, you can follow my main account, Luke Prewett 8.
Boom. There you go.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you, Luke. It was good to catch up.
It was really good to catch up. I appreciate all that you've done for this area, for the Birmingham area, for athletes. We don't take it for granted. I remember after every single Friday night or Saturday morning, I'm going straight to Twitter. I'm going, straight over there to Instagram, whatever it is, looking for the updates, seeing your name, guys like you, Kyle, Alec, just really
Alec.
good guys, and you're still doing it. And that's why we have this connection to this day. So I appreciate you.
Yep. That's why we love it. Like it's cool. It's cool covering you guys when you're 16, 17, 18 years old, but it's it's even cooler once you get back to a place like this and it's more like you're just kind of buds, like
Sure.
there was a kid, for instance, that I covered years ago. Like I think he graduated in 11 or 12, something like that. And now he's a coach at the school that I covered him playing at, and we're just buds now. And that's that's really cool. I appreciate you saying that.
Yes, sir. And I got to give a big shout out to all my guys on the 2017 team. Definitely should have won that chip. Going out there playing in Bryant Denny, it was a heartbreaking loss, but that was the best team I've ever been on in my life. Everyone was super
Yeah,
committed. Offense is pushing the defense and vice versa. Whole lot of fights in the summer, but we loved it. That's what made us good. That's why we got there. Everyone was super locked in, and I appreciate those guys to this day.
man. St. Paul's, man.
I
Such a great game too. So close.
know. I know.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate you, Luke.
Sir, I appreciate you too.
I'll see you later.
All right, have a good one.
You too.
All right.